All right. Well, cool. Well, good morning again, everybody. Great to be here. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and it's good to see you, Dr. K, as well. Um, and had a great Valentine's Day. And what is this, Dr. K, that you're? Oh, you're cleaning. I just saw something. Got it. Got it. Were you trying to scrub me away?
Trying to make sure that I don't have that blurred vision with my camera.
Got it. No, you look great. Yeah, so it is Monday, February 17th. We are over halfway through the month. It's a short month, so just keep that in mind as you're looking at where you're at. And just a couple things that I wanted to kind of speak about today. And then Robin or anybody else can tune in. But I really wanted to talk about belief, right? So the majority of your success in this business comes from your mindset as well as your belief. And, and it's so important to teach your team this too for people that are not, on this call and for those that are doing, like Dr. K, going to be doing like bigger, other meetings with their team as well outside of this. But just letting them know the importance of this because I know how big it was for me and remembering, like, when it comes to this, that you're not doing this alone. Like, you already have a proven system and you have mentors, who know the way and know how to guide you. And I know we've said this over and over, and a lot of this, God, who is calling? Getting so many spam calls. I don't know what is up with that. Hold on, let me just add pull in here. Okay. Sorry about that. So, so what I was saying is I know a lot of it's like repeated stuff that I might be mentioning or that we might, but it takes you to hear it a many of times to actually, do it. Like we know some things to do. We know not to eat, high sugar foods. We know these things, but yeah, we still do them, right? So if it was that easy, then we would just be, all right, you guys are good. Go along your merry way. You're all team elite, this year, and you don't need me anymore. No, you need to be hearing the same message and knowing that the path is already laid out for you and all you need is to do is to take action and really, enjoy the journey along the way. And if you think about it and you remember, the day that you started, right, the day that you said yes and you made a decision to do this, sometimes the day that we start too is not always the day that we take action. It's not always the day that we really get it. It's not always the day that we decide. Sometimes that comes, months later. Um, but when you do that, when you come on board, you invest in yourself. When you invest in that package, you invest in yourself and you told the company and your leaders that, I want to become a leader. I want to take this seriously and I want to change my life, right? And then you also invested in building your belief in the products and technologies, right? So that you can share them with confidence and enthusiasm. Like we just had Greg come on and he's sharing about the products. He's had some significant, Greg, do you mind sharing a little bit about your experience with some of the, supplements? I mean, I know you've only been doing this a little bit.
Hey, Deborah. Yeah, for sure. I started in 1st of January taking the supplements, and I noticed a difference within 10 days of my recovery time and also lack of fatigue in the afternoons. And so it aligned with my goals. I've been taking supplements for a long time, and I'm sure that they have not been working as to specifications. And so the opportunity to join this business and to share my experience with others and also grow the business and help others bring in additional income from other sources. And this is a great time and a good opportunity.
Yes. Thank you. And that's how, Greg, he attracted somebody else that he knows at another Greg, that he used to work with or knows well, and shared a little bit about this. And we had an amazing, phase one call on Friday. And so it comes from your belief. He wouldn't have been able to share what we're doing if he didn't have any belief, in the products and in the technologies. And people can feel that. They can feel if you have unshakable belief, or if you're kind of like, I don't know, like I think so, they can feel it, no matter what you say. So that's why it's so important that our people come on board, with the scanner, all in, and because that's going to build their belief the fastest. They need to be 100%, settled in their mind and their body and their spirit, that number one, the products that we promote, are life changing, that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And then the next one is they need to know that the company they represent is world class. It's a rock solid company. They need to have that belief, in the company, and knowing it's a Dun& Bradstreet 5A1 rating, we're the fifth most trusted company out of Forbes top 100 trusted companies in the United States. We're publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. We are held by the top 10 mutual funds in this country. So it's a rock solid company. So knowing that and people understanding that, and understanding that this industry is the right path for you, right? Understanding that, either that's educating yourself on the industry, hearing from other people, in this industry, hearing from Nathan Ricks, but understanding and knowing that this is the right path, and that most important, that you can do this, right? So belief is everything is the main takeaway. And it really does, fuel hope, confidence, and action. And behind all of that is faith, right?
That's
Faith,
so well stated, Deborah.
thank you. Thanks for that, Greg. Yeah. And you guys can tune in, but faith is a principle of action. You know, um, what's that quote? Um, faith
Faith without works is dead
dead. Wait, yeah.
or something.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what faith without work is dead. Yes. I mean, you got to have both. You got to have, but it starts with faith. And that's belief in yourself, and belief in the journey, and focus on your goals, right? Daily focus on your goals is a principle of faith. And consistency, in your actions as well. Being consistent. When you plant a seed, you need to water it every day, right? You need to do things to make sure that it is growing. You can't just let it chill and, oh, I'll check you out in a couple weeks and pray that it's done everything, or it's growing apples. Like, no, it's not. So it starts with you, and then based on your belief about yourself, that's going to drive your behavior based upon your faith, in yourself and in the business and the products. That's going to drive your behavior, right? So your past, is why you're at where you're at right now. All of the decisions we made along the way, whether unconscious or not, is why we're at, where we're at today. But it doesn't define your future, right? You can create a completely different life. I'm definitely proof of that. So where you go, from this moment forward, right? We're over halfway through the month. We're already like February's almost over. I mean, it's going by. We have so much excitement happening within the company. And so, and what we're doing and what you want to capture, and where you go from this moment forward, it depends entirely on who you choose to become, right? So that vision of yourself. And if you're on the call last Wednesday with myself, well, Cash led the call, but I kind of helped him out with it. And because he was asking me questions on that call, about, what do you do to to be your best, or what are some habits? And it starts in the morning. the miracle morning we spoke about, right? And what
Wait,
I do
what
is
call was that?
so Wednesday Healthcare Alliance, usually Kent Nelson does the call,
I
but
missed it.
I
I'll have to.
know, yes, well, you had family, but I tuned in and I saw Cash leading it, and then we kind of did it, together for the majority of it. But he did great, like wow, very impressed.
Wow, that's awesome. I'll go back and listen.
Yeah, it was really good. But we did talk about, belief, and we talked about kind of visualizing, your future self or visualizing your day as, as if everything already happened the way you wanted it to be and having those feelings and the importance of that, even if you do it for a minute, and starting your day with prayer, intention, or silence, and then really focusing on who am I going to be today? Because the stronger, your belief in all of these things, the faster you grow, and it's way easier for you to bounce back from setbacks. Because trust me, you're gonna get disappointments in life along the way, and people are gonna say things that you can never imagine, and people are gonna be people, but your belief in yourself must be greater than anybody's, disbelief in you or what we're doing. So you got to do it. You got to believe in yourself, even if your, spouse doesn't, or if your friends don't, or people doubt it, and so forth. Um, because the people that doubt you, it's funny, even they've never built anything themselves, usually. So it's like why are we listening to people? You know, um, so it's staying laser focused, consistency. For me, it beats all doubt. I was terrible in the beginning. I was like just doing whatever. The things I look back that I wrote to people or friends or how I reached out to people that I knew, or haven't talked to in years, and the things that I would say, it was wow. Like I look back and I just kind of laugh, and you got to. But I was consistent with things and doing things and getting better and learning through tough love, through my mentor, through Greg, how to build this correctly. Because I stayed committed regardless of the embarrassments, regardless of, the consequences, regardless of how many times I messed up or had to do things and learn a new way. Um, because when you stay committed, I promise you, you'll figure it out. And when you figure it out, and which is a journey, that will ultimately set you free. Um, because there's with people, and I don't know if you guys can chime in on this, but I believe that there's an illusion of security versus like real freedom. And what I mean by that is, trading your time for a paycheck just to start all over in January, right? Or um, hoping that your job is still there with no control over your future. Hoping that they're not going to fire you. Like that was my fear. I kept getting, I just didn't want to be there and they could tell. And, my last pharmaceutical sales job, the one that I fired my boss at, and I was getting like, written up for coming in late, like, because all I could focus on was Pharmanex. Like all I could focus on was this. And on my lunches, I'd be like on LinkedIn doing things. I just didn't want to be there. And I didn't like the office politics and the control. So I knew either they were going to fire me or I was going to fire them. So I decided to do that. But the real security is in you. It's in your knowledge, it's in your mindset, and it's in your leadership. It's not in a job. It's not in whatever job, because that job is going to own you. And you don't know. They don't care, usually, unfortunately. It's a sad truth, but that's the reality. So and just a couple other things, and then I'll let you guys all, share. But I just, this was just on my mind, that a lot of us can go down like this comparison, route, like, oh, this person's ahead of me, or they're placing all these scanners, or look at like Dr. Krieger, what's going on? What am I not doing? Like, how come they're having so much success? And and the thing I want to say about that is like this is your path, right? It's not someone else's. Like you're going through everything you need to go through at this time for a reason, if you believe it, right? And you got to, because it's going to help you grow. And then it's also going to help you define what you do want from the contrast, as Dr. Hank shares often about this contrast. So that it shows up there for a reason. You have to have the sun to have, the dark. Like you have to have the light to have the dark. So you're going to have to go through things, and it's on a timeline that's not, you don't want to compare to anybody else's. It's your goals, it's your energy, and your commitment that define your success, not what somebody else is doing. And sometimes we don't see all the challenges that other people, like for example, Dr. K in the beginning, had to go through, right? That led him to where he is today. And, and building this so, at a rapid space, everybody I talk to basically wants to come on board after they talk to Dr. K, but it wasn't like that, in the beginning. So people only see, you know, where people are like right now. They don't see the sacrifice and they don't see it, the journey along the way. So don't let other people, dictate your worth, right? And just step into your power. Um, so with that, does anybody know what the five beliefs are then that you need to have? What are the most important beliefs? And I mentioned most of them. So what are the five beliefs for success?
You have to believe in what you're doing.
Okay, so number one, and if somebody wants to write these in the chat, so belief in, so if you say belief in what you're doing, let's break it down a little bit. So would that be belief in, there's a couple components to that. So the first one is belief in the products and technology, right? So that's kind of, that's what we're doing. We're promoting this product and technology. You're using them, you're experiencing the benefits, right? And then also belief, in the company is part of that too, right? So belief in the company, learning its history, the values and integrity of the company, going out into the healthcare forum to learn that, being on these calls, showing up and engaging. So we got the belief in the company, belief in the products and technology. And then the other part to believing in what you're doing is belief in the business model, right? Well, understanding that this business model is a proven path to wealth, right? Over and over, we create a cash millionaire every 3 days within this company. 3 days. The average, the leaders average last year over $500,000. So believing in like this is something that it works, it's proven. So those three would kind of qualify under what you just said, Dr. K. Anybody else know we're missing two others? Belief in,
You have to believe in yourself.
boom, thank you. Belief in yourself. How do we, how do we improve that? How do we work on that?
Exactly what we're doing today. This is one component. Hearing from others, talking about it, asking people questions about their health. Because once you have a care for them, they realize that you have a belief in what you're doing and you can share that. And that way you have a belief in yourself.
Ooh, I love that perspective. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you knew Robin, when I met her, years ago, what was it, 2020, I think, or so, since we've known each other. I mean, it's like night and day, her belief in herself. And sometimes we don't see it in ourselves, but the way she talks, the way she carries herself, her posture, her energy, she was always unstoppable. There's never anything getting in her way. She's always eager and coachable and ready to do whatever needed to be done. But the energy she brings now is completely different than the energy that, she brought in the beginning, in my opinion. All great, beautiful heart and soul, that's part of it, but it's not just that. Like you need to have you need to have that energy and you need to have that posture and confidence and certainty and clarity, as to why you're doing this. So it's really amazing. And then so we have that, and then there's one more that we're missing, and that is belief in the timing, right? Belief in the timing, right? That you're in the right place at the right time. That's why we say you gotta be at 12 o'clock. Yeah. Right? Like we're looking for people that are at the right time of their life. They have to believe it's the right time of their life. We can't make it, be that way for somebody, but we can create a sense of urgency for people, as well about where we're going and not too many scanners, available or however you want to create that urgency. But believe you got to know in your heart before you even talk to anybody that the timing is right, for what we're doing, not just timing in the marketplace, right? But timing in your mindset. So there's two parts to that, right? But this is all a journey. The stronger your belief, the bigger your success. I promise. The better people you attract. So again, for those that don't know, really the foundation of success is that phase one call, right? Master that. You get to know a person's energy and their mindset. You determine if they align with the four different key criterias. You see if they're ready for an opportunity, and then you move them to a phase two, which is just a leadership validation. Remember, on those phase one calls, you get to control it, right? Remember that. It's a key thing. You get to control it. Dr. K. You do. I mean, I had to hang up on one of Dr. K's people, not in a terrible way, but in a way that this person was just way too skeptical. I just wasn't letting me speak. And I just had to politely say, you know what, thank you, but this is not for you. The end. The person wasn't too happy and continued to reach out to Dr. K. But I promise you, if I continued talking to that person, number one, it wasn't going to go anywhere. It was wasting time. And, time is way more even valuable than money, and it's not just about the money, but it's about the focus. And what we're telling the universe is, oh, I want more of these people, And you got to be you got to not be intent. Yeah, intentional about what you're looking for. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not creating a sin, by doing that. You're not a bad person. You're just like you're a CEO of Laurie Constantino, LLC. You're the CEO of Kara or Greg or Dr. K. Like this is your company. These are the people you're going to spend time with. Robin, go ahead.
Well, I just want to add to that, whether it's online on a phase one or in person, because several months ago I went into an office and the doctor was so nice and she was just available right then. But I did set up another time because she wanted her office manager to hear about it. So I went back the following day and the office manager, he was just so rude, so skeptical, and I was trying to answer questions. I was trying to be nice, but then I left the office and I thought, wait a minute, I should have just said, you know what, to the doctor, I appreciate your willingness to learn. You're so kind, but I really don't think this is a good fit for you guys. And, I should have done that, but I didn't. I was like, so we learn, right? But now next time, I will definitely do that. Just say, and it gives you power. It empowers you. Because like Deb said, we are in control of our business. And it's good for them too, because they think, oh, wow, she just took it away from me.
Exactly. Thank you. That's so
So,
powerful. Thank you, Robin, for sharing. And that's so true. I mean, it does give us, that power. And people, whether or not, we know they do respect that. And the universe respects that too. Like it's just how it's supposed to be. Go ahead, Dr.
One of the things that we have to remember is you never know. You never know. And the reason I'm saying that is I take the device with me everywhere I go. It's in my car, it's on me no matter what. And I went to, my wife and I are into these cruise-ins with our cars. We enjoy that. That's something we enjoy doing and meeting people. On Saturday night, we went to the local cruise-in. There were 350 cars there, and you get to talk with people. And I ended up scanning 3 people. And I have a meeting with one of the couples this afternoon, late this afternoon, to get them set up with product because they scan terrible. And I explained to them why, that I really cared about their long-term health. And you never know when that specific time and that specific place will happen unless you have that action step of faith. And I had faith that, hey, I saw what it's doing with people. Went to a group last night, and the wife scanned at 63,000, and she was elated. Her husband scanned at 31,000. Well, what do we do about it? Well, what about your kids? I scanned their kids. One of them was 31,000. One of them was 16,000, and they're eating the same foods. So you never know when that will happen. You just be available and just tell people the truth. And they will know how much you believe in what you're doing by what you're saying and how you're acting.
Yes. Perfect. Great point. Thank you so much. Yes. Bringing, having the scanner, knowing, how many people you're helping and coming from, that service, regardless, that's the key thing is, we're here to serve. Um, and however we do it. But again, we can only serve the people that are wanting and looking and are open. You can't serve people that are so skeptical that they don't want to believe anything that you tell them. You know, like you can't after they watch so many videos and done certain things, you just it's not at that time, in that way. But for them, it's not gonna, do anybody good. But I love that, Dr. K, you're a servant leader. And so yeah, so doing those phase one calls is so key and just really, being telling them how it is. Like you've gotta, stick to it, stick to that outline. That outline is proven. The calls that I've, done, have worked really well and what I've taught Dr. K, but it really helps me um, you know, stay in control and paint the picture for that person without them like, saying X, Y, and Z or getting into all of their questions right away. No, like we have a dialogue, of course, but you gotta you're controlling it. And you don't have to be all lovey-dovey on that call. You have good energy, but you're not there. You're sharing a huge opportunity, for them, for their family, for their future that they apply to, that they watched a couple of videos about, and you want to keep it, in that kind of, during that call that's what it's about. What are you looking for?
You know,
And
Deborah, I think people should record their phase ones and then listen to their own recording. And oh my gosh, why did I say that? That type of thing. I sent a recording of one to Robin, and I wanted her to critique me. She hasn't sent the critique back
I,
yet.
actually, I listened to like the first only 15 minutes. So, and it's so good because you can tell Dr. K that you care about that person. So I will finish it today and let you know. But I learned a lot that's why I asked for that because you can really tell your heart's in it.
Okay,
will you
good. I'm
send it to
glad
me
that.
too, Dr. K? I want to hear. Will you send me the recording? I know,
Uh-oh,
you're
I'm
like,
in trouble now.
uh-oh. Well, you're the one who
No,
shared it. Send it to Robin. So you got
what,
to send it to me. This is part of
she
it.
asked me, and so I was available for it, and I thought this is a good one. I'll just do this today. And I, I, I have changed so much.
Mm.
Um, my heart has changed so much. I'm getting emotional here. You think about the average male in this country lives to be 76.5 years old. I'm going to be 76 in May. I'm going to live past that. That's my plan. I don't know what God's plan has for me, but I'm having more self fulfillment now than I even did when I was in practice. And the reason why is you can talk to people one to one and then help people and have people in your life like Robin and Deborah and Lori and Carolyn and Cash, and we're in the same we're in the same mindset, the same team, and we're the same family. And that's really important to understand, that we're here for one another. We're supposed to help one another. So I don't mean to take up the conversation today, but I think that's important for everybody to hear.
That was beautifully said. We love you, Dr. K, and I can feel it in your heart. And like I was saying, I mean, how far you've come, and we're family, and that's just so huge. And that is why you are one of the main reasons why you're so successful, in this is because people can feel that too, and that you are the real deal, and you're humble, um, and you're doing this. You're all in. You are doing the calls. You are taking massive inspired action. And massive inspired action, it solves all problems. Promise, it does.
Mhm.
No matter what. If you're having a day that's bad, like whatever, do something to get out of that. Take action, reach out to people in a loving way. Who can I help today? Who can I serve? But massive action, it does solve all problems. And once you have at least 20 people in the system, and when I say 20 people in the system, I'm referring to 20 people that, have been on either a three-way call, seen a presentation, a webinar, been on, looked over our website. They've been on a second call, they moved to the next step. Those are people that count towards those 20. Once, that magic starts to happen once you have 20 people in the system. And then while you're doing that, you want to build a 10 to 20 person customer base as soon as possible. Promise, that's it. Three-way calls, 10 to 20 person customer base. If the average is $100 right there and you have 10, you do the math, but that's going to get you moving in the, higher compensation range when it comes to, commission payouts for your level one and referrals. So you want to focus most importantly on the people, like I mentioned, for whom it is the right time right now. And it's okay if a person's nice, but you want to monitor if that person is capable of moving forward and growing bigger. You really must be realistic about their circumstances and their abilities, before that. And unfortunately, some people, and I've had these situations, some people can just be too smart, for this business because it's so simple that a lot of people try to complicate it. And they go, well, and I'm sure a lot of people have you seen this and maybe with yourself, and they say, well, you know what? It just can't be this simple to where we give somebody um, a tool and then they formulate their questions and then we answer their questions and then we introduce them to somebody else for further validation. It just can't be that easy. So let me go ahead and let me complicate it and mess it up and and do it my way. And if some of you haven't done that, I'm sure you've watched some people on your team do that. Am I right? I mean, I and maybe you haven't yet, but I promise you, as you grow this big, it's going to happen regardless. No matter what you do, it's going to happen. I just had somebody who wasn't on calls for the last gosh, maybe 6 months. I've been reaching out to them. They're in pharma, med device, was all in, was super excited about the scanner in the beginning. The first couple months was excited, kind of tuning in. We probably did one phase one call. And then they reach out to me saying, hey, I just don't have time for this, anymore. How do I, send the scanner back type of thing. This was last week, right? Well, and I hit him in between the eye. I sent back, is it your belief? And I wrote a response. I can send it to you guys, but just about his belief, just to see, um, like, are you ready to do it the right way type of thing, right? Because he wasn't. If somebody says they don't have time for this, it's because they're not doing it right. Everybody, you can make time. It's an easy, thing to do. And when you're not trying to do it all and play presenter, educator, salesperson, scientist, and so forth. So that's why being coachable is number one. Um, so yeah,
They'll
and
have time to, Deborah, they'll have time to watch TV.
exactly. And scroll on social media. I mean, look at their screen time for the day, like, and tell me you don't have time, right? Or what
I,
you're
I
doing.
want to
But
let everybody know I watched an interesting take on where people's priorities were in 1940, and it had these barcodes in it. I'll try to find it and send it to everybody, but it started with family and religion being the first one and two. And from 1940, it shows how things changed with jobs. I mean, everything was in it, and how these barcodes started shifting and shifting and shifting. And now family is down at like 3%, religion is down at 2%. And the number one thing, 69% of a person's time is on social media.
wow,
I
wow,
was
I
really,
believe it though.
I believed it, but I was actually a little bit distraught about it because people don't communicate anymore, and that's the difference between us and the people in other businesses. We communicate. We ask. If you want to know what a person is like, ask them questions. Don't say anything about yourself. Just ask them. One of the things I learned when I was in practice is I never asked a patient, how are you doing? Because they would stand there and they would tell you. So, and that ruined my whole morning because I had, patients every 5 minutes. So what I have gleaned out of this business is you ask people what concerns them the most about their health, what concerns them the most about their family. You start asking them the questions, then they will tell you. They'll tell you things they wouldn't tell their own family members or even their own spouse. It's amazing what happens. Ask questions. It changes everything.
Yeah. Be interested, right? Not interesting is the number one thing. Ask the questions, and questions are the answers. Laurie?
Yeah, I would like to give the 21st century a little credit here, Dr. K. Uh, I'm so grateful for a lot of the direction that I've gotten from you because it's proven to be, as Deborah has mentioned so many times, when we're coachable, we come back at it with an open mind. So we're giving ourselves that opportunity and that space to create what we really truly can create, learning from the team that's already successfully done that. But the bottom line to where we are right now, which is a continuum of unrelenting, unrealistic demands. Yes, the priorities have shifted over the years, and I believe that our business and our company immediately brings to the forefront what Scott Bennett talked about today in the leadership call: customer experience, uh, customer retention, care, that customer centric, that when we keep driving that, it starts to just reverberate out that You can call us whatever you want as far as how we do our business and our structure, but at the bottom line, as Deborah has said, we are one of the five most trusted companies, Dun and Bradstreet. We can reiterate that we've still been in business for 40 years, and it started from those quality principles. And our product reflects the 6S prior, prior, priority process. And then we can also reiterate the importance of the selection and how we've been to the facility and seen everything, spoken to the lead scientists. They still are very active and present for us, and that's huge. So I think that this is a time where we can take that lead, as Deborah had said so eloquently and clearly. We have control of what we think the most important and most expensive real estate we have is between our left and our right ear. No matter what's going on out in the 21st century with the misalignment of priorities, we are the examples every time we go out there and engage in conversation. And kudos to you, Dr. K, because you are such a great role model and you are going to live longer than Moses.
Well, I hope so. That's the plan, Stan.
That was awesome, Laurie. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely. And we're in control. It's up to us. And once you make a decision, right? And you cut everything else off and you decide, for me, that changed everything. I made a decision. And that was it. And Nathan Ricks talks about that a lot. Decide, be a finisher. So don't settle, for mediocrity. Own your power. And massive action, just as a reminder, is 3 to 5 presentations a day for a while. Yeah, 3 even, just depending upon your time commitment and, if you're doing this with other things. And if that sounds like too much, then $100,000 a month isn't, right? Like it's, if you have a goal, the how becomes, easier. So how much money do you want to make a month? Knowing what you want will help you, get there. And then doing the daily actions and working on yourself and building your belief. But when you know the number one indicator of success is these 3-way calls, then the faster your business is going to grow. So the more that people put me on calls with them, the more I know, like, this person, if they continue to do it, like Dr. K or Tara, like they're gonna continue, like that's the pattern. So master the phase one and no one will ever control your income again. Don't take shortcuts no matter what. They do not work. I don't care who the person is, follow the system and you'll see results, and you're not the expert, right? So with that, just to kind of end, does anybody want to share what their biggest takeaway is from today's call? Right? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is your belief in yourself, the products, and the opportunity? Got 10?
I think I can chime in if you want. I think for me personally, it's easier to have a belief in, I mean, we all have a certain degree of belief in ourselves, depending, but when you're starting like a new venture, I feel like for me, the belief in the product and the technology is higher than the belief in myself, right?
Yeah.
Because like we're still learning what to say, what to ask, and all of that. So it's easy to have like, okay, the science is here, my belief, I feel the product, this is amazing, but okay, I need to get, like boots on the ground or whatever they say to like really get that experience and then like build that belief in yourself. So it's easier to just kind of tumble forward and get the ball rolling. But
Yes, great points, Tara. Absolutely. And I love that you're just so humble to share kind of, your belief about yourself versus kind of the belief, in the products and technology. But they're all they're all a journey as you go on this, and that's why, you know, but your belief in yourself, like that's a choice too sometimes, like, and where is it coming from? And is that even true? If we tell her things, oh, I can't do it, or I don't know everything yet, like I can't do what Deborah does or what Robin does because is that even true? No. I mean, if you think about it, right? Like it's not. I mean, you just want to keep it so simple that you can connect with people and share a webinar and set up a three-way call or do a short phase 1 call and find out if they're at the right time. Like you can do it. It's just sometimes we think so we overthink it and we get in our own way. So sometimes we just need to release those thoughts that aren't serving us and say, you know what, like I don't have to be perfect at this. Like I don't have, there's no need for that. Like, but I could have a little bit of faith. I always say, all you need is the faith of a mustard seed. I love that. So same within yourself, just a small, tiny amount of faith and it will grow and sprout. But holding on to, of course, the technology, like, and the products and knowing what they do will help, strengthen that as well. So, and then one more question for anybody. And thanks, Dr. K, for chiming in there. Um, okay, and then let's see. What's one habit that you can commit to that will move your business forward? You can drop your answer in the chat or share it out loud. One habit that you can commit to that will move your business forward.
I think we just have to make sure that we're communicating.
Communication. Perfect. Right? So communicating with people. And that includes, number one, is your team. Right? That includes them, number one. You brought them in. It's way easier. It's so easy to go ahead and recruit the next person and bring on the next scanner. That's easy. The hard part comes in the training and helping that person grow. That's the hard part. We can continue to play scanners, and that's great, continue doing that. But the hard part comes in holding a person's hand and teaching them, what you're doing and duplicating that. But that's a leadership. And that's what Scott spoke about this morning is that 5%, 6 levels deep. That is, you're highly compensated on that, right? And that is something, and you do that by committing to helping your people as you bring them in and teaching them how to fly this jet. All right. All right. So any final thoughts or questions before we wrap it up? My eyes aren't that good, Dr. K.
Come on, you can read that. No, I have 3x5 cards, and I'll pick one a day that I write things on. This one is probing questions. You ask yourself, what's your approach? What's working for you now? What isn't working for you? That kind of thing. What happens if this one is what happens if you continue on doing what you're doing the way you're doing it? Are you going to continue to stumble, or are you going to move ahead? I've got these cards everywhere. I take them with me. I take one card with me every day and just review it. And it's really problem awareness questions. Oh my gosh, do you like your present situation? Ask people that. Oh my goodness, are you really loving what you're doing? What about what is it in your life that you don't like? You ever ask anybody that? Oh my gosh, they'll tell you. They'll tell you. And then clarifying questions. Let me understand what you want or what your intentions are. I always I come back to this, and I'll be quiet. My dad always told me, don't listen to what people say. Watch what they do, then you know who they are. And then after you know who they are, then you know what their intentions are. So we have to listen to what people say when we do the calls, but what's their intention? And that's a key element. So I'll be quiet.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing those. And I would love to, if you could share in the chat or in New Pharma Leaders or with myself or Robin, those questions.
Yeah,
That would be amazing to
those
see.
are
But
awesome.
absolutely, I think that's so important. And just totally had another thought. I'm gonna say. There was something, but okay, never mind. I guess it wasn't that important unless it comes back. But I think that is just so key to have questions to lead the conversation, and find out, because when you can find that out about somebody, what's going on, and we can offer them a solution, and we have that. Um, so think about how many people you're going to introduce this system to this week or today, who you're going to call, who you're going to reach out to, and then, your um, how you're going to get like what is the word that I was looking for when now I'm losing my trains of thoughts. The income producing activities, there's another word for it. I just can't think of it. But when you're looking at your day, you want to focus on the number one thing that's going to move your business forward. If you didn't do anything else, what's the number one thing that you're going to do? Right. And I think one of the number one things is, besides the daily, but it's also getting people out to Utah, always using that to move things forward because that's a key indicator, key performance, KPIs. That's what I was, it's a KPI. It's a key performance indicator. How many three-way calls, how many people are going to be on the Wednesday night call? How many people are going to get to Utah? Right. So just keeping that in mind, and then don't worry about the how. The how will come. Like just know what you want and what you're doing and pre-pave it and ask for it, and doors will open. But stay in that consistency. And yeah, what Dr. K was saying, I'm sorry, is back to intention. It's you can hear by how somebody answers a question if they're operating on faith or fear, right? So it's really getting, are they coming from a faith or a fear standpoint? Because if they're coming from fear, then that's a different conversation. They're coming from faith, right? So it's that difference, and you can hear that, and you can even ask them. And I always tell people I'm looking for people that operate on faith, that see the brighter side of the street, versus the other. And that is so important on this journey. So thank you all for plugging in today. Keep growing, keep believing, keep showing up and taking action, and let me know how I can help. But this has been fun. So thanks, Dr. K, and everybody else, and Laurie, and Robin. I almost said Tony and Robin because it says Tony, for sharing, and Greg, Tara, everybody, for showing up today. And we'll speak soon. Have a
Thanks,
beautiful
Yeah.
Deborah.
Have a good day.
Thank
Thank you.
Have a
you.
blessed
Bye,
day.
everybody.
Bye.